This is a 2017 Type R, the forbidden fruit, because this is the first time that the Type R has ever come to the United States. Why is that? Well, I'm going to let you know in this buddy review with my pal Honda Pro Jason, and that is coming up right now on the Fast Lane Car. For joining me, dude.
I wouldn't miss it. To drive a Type R with you, I definitely wouldn't miss it.
You know, there's very few people on this earth, including the chief engineer of this car, who know more about this than you do.
Thank you, sir.
So this is the FK8, is that the right designation?
This is the FK8, you're absolutely correct.
And that means that it is the fifth Honda Civic Type R that came out since 1997.
Correct. Starting with the EK9.
Oh, wow.
Starting with the EK9.
He knows it.
I know it, yes.
And what that means is that it is basically a race car for the road. This is Honda's sharpest tool.
This is, yes it is. And Honda has said this is the best Type R, the Civic Type R they built, and I'm going to agree with them.
I have to agree with them too. I've never driven another one, so it's the first one
I've
and
driven
the best one.
all of them except for what's called the EP3.
Yeah.
I've driven every Type R, and I can tell you, and I've driven them pretty hard.
Yeah.
This one drives the best. It seems to have the most power. It handles the road the best. Ergonomically, it destroys the other way. It's just, look at how much room we have.
Yeah,
everything's at your fingertips.
The last gen was very small. Now, one of the things that designates a Type R is right there. It's the little red Honda logo. Only Type Rs get that.
Yes.
You can get this car in any configuration as long as it's this one, because there are no options, dude. There's nothing. There's no sunroof.
You get color.
You get color.
You
can get color, but there's no other option. So 6-speed manual is the only option.
Yep.
No automatic. And here's something interesting. It's only a 4-seater. It looks like a 5-seater, but there's no seat. And you said all Type Rs have always been 4-seaters.
Type Rs have been 4-seaters or 2-seaters. Obviously the NSX, but they're 4-seaters or 2-seaters. This is unique too because the only trim that it comes in is touring trim.
Yep.
So they gave you navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. They gave you all these niceties that you normally wouldn't get in a race car, but Honda added them, and I like that. I think it's going to make it a more comfortable car to drive.
Yeah, there's no sunroof, but that would only make it worse because you get a much higher center of gravity, and you want this to be low. Sunroofs add a lot of weight up high. Now, all that for $33,900.
It's amazing.
Plus $875. Dealer destination handling. Yeah, so just under $35,000, you get all that, and rev matching. You can hear it.
Yeah, rev matching.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Now I'm sitting behind myself, and you know what? I've got pretty good headroom and pretty good legroom. Now these front seats are specifically sculpted to hold you in place when you're on the track. Remember, this is a race car for the road. Now my biggest question is, are you going to get one?
I'm getting one.
I knew you'd
Of course you're getting one. I've waited 18 years for this car.
Yeah.
I've waited since the Integra Type R. I learned about the Integra Type R and started doing research about Type R, and I've waited 18 years to have my own Type R.
What color?
I'm getting black, crystal black.
And now we're in the Champion White, which is a classic Honda color, because Honda, of course, has always been into motorsports, and this is a color that they've won many races with.
Yep. And here's a great fun fact.
Yes?
The first NSX Type R, the first Type R, was painted only championship white.
I did not know that. Now,
there you go.
The other thing that you guys may not know is that this is the first Type R to come to America, because this Civic...
Civic Type R.
Yeah, Civic Type R, that's true. There was an Accord, right?
No, there's an Integra Type R that came to America.
How about an Accord Type R?
Never in America.
But there was one.
There was one, yeah. It came out, the Accord Type R came out in Japan, then they had a Euro R again in Japan, and then there was one Type R in Europe.
Now, the reason for that is that this Civic was designed, this generation, from the ground up to have a Type R, so that we could get it. In the other generations, the Europeans have always upgraded their highest Civic into a Type R.
Exactly.
But from the beginning, and here's something else that's cool. We're the first to get it, man. Yay! First ahead of Europe, first ahead of Canada. Sorry, Canada, we're in Canada. Here's something that's not so cool.
Oh.
They're only building about 2,700-ish of the 2017s, and there's 1,100 dealers in America. Everyone's going to get one, and I'm telling you, man, this thing is going to go over sticker.
Oh, sure will.
It's going to go over sticker.
It's supply and demand.
Yeah, it's supply and demand, and there's going to be a lot of demand for this car, because let's talk about the good. The good is that...
You go first.
First of all, it's VTEC. But it doesn't matter because it's turbocharged, 2-liter, puts out 295 horsepower, 306 horsepower, 295 pound-foot of torque. But man, the acceleration is phenomenal. It is buttoned down. It is Well, it is the sharpest, most powerful weapon in Honda's American lineup, and they call it a race car for the road, and I have to agree. The performance envelope is so wide on this car, and you know what else is good about it? It's very forgiving. If you go into a turn too hot and you put on the brakes, you know, the car just hunkers down and follows where you're pointing it. Many cars, the back end would come around, so that's the good news.
I'm gonna interrupt you because I wanted to say some good stuff about the car too.
Go for
I know
it.
you're surprised.
No.
The gearbox.
Yeah,
the gearbox is awesome. Now, we had just driven the SI, and I think we both agree we like the gearbox in the SI, but this takes it a step further. The shifts are really short and precise. The blipping, when you downshift, the rev matching is outstanding. It feels comfortable. It's put in the exact right spot. It feels like it's just nice and close to you. You just pop through the gears.
Yeah, no, I love this gearbox. I love the short throws. I love the way that you can just throw through these gears, and I love the way that it rev matches. If you're not accustomed to doing heel toe, which I'm not, this makes you look like a heel toe expert.
What do you think of the shift knob?
I like it. It's very small, but it's very compact, and it's very easy to use. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, it's really good. You know, one of my favorite things about this car are those 3 exhausts out the back. Those are really badass looking.
They're cool.
Yeah, they're cool. Now, the middle one is a resonator, right?
Yeah, the middle one's basically there to reduce a booming sound at highway speeds.
Yes.
So the FK2, which was the predecessor of this vehicle, only available in other countries, not available in the US. The previous Type R, one of the couple of complaints was on the highway it would have a booming sound inside the vehicle. And it got loud and a little bit obnoxious. So what they did is they put a center exhaust tip, an exhaust pipe in the center, so on the highway it'll take away some of that booming, make the sound feel nice and just good.
Yeah, I'd like it to be a little bit louder. It's just a little too quiet for my taste. You know, Honda has always been understated, and that's what they'll tell us, say that I'm sure there'll be an aftermarket for this where people come up with much louder exhaust, but I'd like this to be just a little bit more guttural. The other thing that I'm not like in love with is all this faux fake carbon fiber. There's a lot of it. There's some on the front, there's some on the back, there's some on the interior. I get it. I mean, for $34,000, you're probably not going to get real carbon fiber, but nevertheless, you know, I like stuff that's real. Like the hood scoop. The hood scoop is way cool because it actually works. It channels cold air into the engine, and it's functional. And there's a lot of air on this car.
And it lets the rain come out. If rain gets in the scoop, it puts it right up to the side. So I mean, all the aero, which I think is awesome, all the aero in the car is functional.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it.
Well, yeah, there is, but there's
little vortex generators on the roof.
Those are so cool.
Those are so cool, yeah.
But there's so many cars out nowadays that have all this aero and it does nothing. It's just for looks. Yeah. And Honda didn't go that route, and I'm really impressed with that.
Yeah, the other thing that I think is really cool about this car is that this 2-liter turbo just spools up so quickly. I have a car in front of me I can't show you guys, but it's instantaneous. I don't know what the 0 to 60 times are. When we get to Colorado, we'll test it, but it's well in the 5-second range.
I can tell you what Honda says the 0 to 60 times.
What do they say?
5.5.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah,
you're right on 5.5.
Yeah.
Would you like to know the top speed?
Yeah, what is it, dude?
169. 169. You want to test it?
No.
Please, can we test it?
We're not going to test it. I need my driver's license to do my job. We're not going to test it.
So, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Okay, I'm 5'6".
Yes.
How do you fit in the seats?
These seats are really good. Usually when you have these like very aggressive, overly bolstered seats, I'm a big guy. I kind of feel claustrophobic. I feel comfortable.
Me too.
Yeah, and let's talk about the different drive modes.
Oh, let's do that. So there's 3 different drive modes. When you start the car, it's in Sport.
Yep.
Which is the one right in the middle. There's a comfort mode that they never had before, and my opinion is they added the comfort mode to bring it to the US because sometimes US drivers are picky about bouncy cars.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be too tight. So there's a comfort mode that just relaxes the suspension and the steering. Sport mode's right in the middle, but the big one that everyone's talking about is the Pulsar mode. And Pulsar mode does so many things. So it activates, it tightens up the active dampeners on the suspension. It also activates the G sensors in the A-pillars, and there's one in the center of the vehicle. So when the car goes into turns, it knows exactly how much pulse and how much fluid to be pushing through these dampeners to tighten them up, which is amazing. It also tightens up the steering. It doesn't advance, it gives you more torque at lower RPM. So you actually have a little bit more throttle response when you're giving it the gas. And it's the only setting that you can turn off traction control. So you
Really?
can turn off, there's only 2 cars you can turn traction control off in the Honda lineup.
Let me guess the other one, NSX?
NSX.
Yeah, of course.
So all the other cars, there's a traction control button, but it just limits it.
Yeah.
In the Type R, when you go to Pulsar mode, it will limit your traction control and your stability control. But if you want to shut it off, you press the stability button for 5 seconds, it completely takes it off, and then you can sit there and spin the tires until you run out of your 20-inch rim Conti 6s.
Yeah, that's
which are probably expensive.
Yeah, that's the one thing about this car. So it has such a wide performance envelope because these tires are very sticky. But when tires are sticky, they're soft. When they're soft, how much tread life do these
12,000.
things? 12,000.
Probably 12,000.
So you're going to probably change your tires, and they're going to be expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you could put on all seasons or snow tires.
You can do that?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, sticky tires, good handling. So
Yeah.
I can see that. All right, let me ask you this: what's your favorite part of the car?
First, the stigma of owning a Type R in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal because I've wanted one for so long, but I love the turbo engine. I think Honda did the turbo right. I love the looks of the car. I would be really upset if they downplayed the looks, if they took off the big spoiler and they made the car look more subtle. I want this car to stand out. I want this car to say, hey, I'm here, I'm going to kick butt.
Yeah, and it says that because there's no angle where this does not look aggressive.
No, absolutely
from the front, from the back, from the side. It's just dripping with testosterone.
It is.
You know, the one thing I'll tell you about this car, Jason, is that it always wants you to drive faster. This is a car that if I owned it, I think I would lose my license very quickly. And thank God this guy's in front of me because I'd be tearing through here and you'd have a huge smile on your face. But
I do. I would love it.
yeah, but man, this car is always kind of egging you on. There's some cars where you're driving along like on the highway, next thing you know you're doing 45 because it wants you to go slower, but this is the exact opposite.
This is the exact opposite.
So guys, thanks for watching, and remember, go to Jason's, what's your YouTube channel?
Honda Pro Jason.
Honda Pro Jason.
Everything for me is Honda Pro Jason.
Honda Pro Jason.
Makes it simple.
Check out my review at tflcar.com, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff.
Yeah, all that.
Actually, you know what? If you send me a link to your video, I'll link it to this video.
Well, that'd be very cool.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Thanks,
course. So you can see his review. Like I say, there's very few people in this world who know more about Hondas in general than you do. I'm sure there's like engineers, but
Maybe, but I also want to say thank you. You know why?
Why?
You didn't call me a fanboy in this video. See you guys later.
See you guys later. Ciao. Bye.